Hey, and welcome to the Crew Podcast. We are the hottest podcast rocking right now. We are currently looking for 6 amazing hosts to join our family for season 2 that will kick off February the 1st, 2024. If you're looking for an opportunity to allow your voice, your perspective, and your brand to be heard around the world and seen around the world, then join the Crew Podcast.
Aspiring Authors Magazine is a founding sponsor for Da Crew Podcast. Get featured inside the magazine and allow your voice to be heard around the world.
Aspiring Authors Magazine is an international magazine founded in May of 2020 by Queen Angela. Get featured.
Basic Black, After Dark, an all-new podcast show with your host, Black Diamond.
Hey, everybody. This is Black Diamond from the Crew Network, and you're listening to Basic Black After Dark Podcast, the show that meets you where you are and gives you what you ask for. To keep up to date with what's coming up, be sure to follow me on Facebook, Instagram at basic_black, and on Twitter at Black Diamond 03. That's Black Diamond, BLAQUE Diamond 03. I hope you guys will enjoy the show tonight. It's going to be a wonderful episode, so let's get started. Shantae Reid had been on a journey marked by a relentless pursuit of independence. Her books, Love Letters from God and I Am the One, are too powerful for us not to talk about. You can use them as a guide or companion through challenging times, and most of the time people just read books to read them, but these are 2 books that you're not going to be able to put them down. Shantae takes a new approach to spiritual awakening, and she plays an essential role in self-discovery. And just flipping through it, you're going to understand what I'm talking about when I say she plays an essential role in self-discovery, because you're going to discover yourself throughout both of those books. Please welcome a real Georgia peach, Miss Shantae Reid.
Hello.
Hi, Shantae. How are you?
I'm doing awesome.
That's good. I'm so glad that you're able to make it tonight. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Being a writer is not enough for you. You are also a speaker, an advocate, and a minister. You are described as being a driving force, a force to be reckoned with. How would you describe yourself in one word?
One word?
One word.
Think when I was thinking about it, how do I describe persevering? I believe in persevering. That's pretty much what my life has been. Somebody who's tried to persevere.
Give when you say perseverance. Tell me, you said your life has been like that. Give me a little something.
So I was born legally blind. I grew up in rural Georgia, where I was the only person, at least in my class at that time, that had a visual impairment. So I was kind of the one that, they looked down upon. I wasn't able to, I've even had teachers that told me I wasn't smart enough for college, that I would never live on my own. And I think I always think about, the little train that said, I think I can. And so that's how I've lived my life. When people tell me I couldn't do something, it's always been my drive to persevere and show them that I'm going to show you I can do it, since you think I cannot.
Okay, and you've been showing them ever since, huh?
That's been the goal.
So I hope that you can find that teacher. I'm not gonna say rubber face into it, but rubber face into it. Let her know she should be ashamed of herself, being a teacher, educator, to tell any student that they're not going to make anything of themselves. They'll never go to college. How would she have felt if somebody had told her that she would never be an educator? And people should teach their children better. I'm not going to sit here and say kids will be kids, parents and adults will be adults. That's the way that I can put it, because children are still learning, and they're actually learning, from their parents. Your writing has taken many on a journey of self discovery. And which one of your books involves examining your life and figuring out what's missing?
Oh, that's an easy one for me. That one is the one that is called "I Am What You See." And that book took me a while to write because I was in the state where I didn't want to. I had to go back and deal with those things that happened in childhood that I have been avoiding all my life. Still working through some of those, but just that initial, realizing what caused me to deal with depression, what caused me to, be so hard on myself. And that book right there is where all that was poured into.
Wow. We have Patrice that says, hey, 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 oh my gosh, I am currently reading your book now. Now, Patrice reviews books. So she's probably looking at it right now and she's going to be reviewing it. And she's one of my sisters that also has a podcast. Now, I don't review books, I just enjoy them, which is your book. But she does. So if she's reading your book, that's telling you something. I'm quite sure you already know that you're something. Just like I said, you're a force to be reckoned with. So you probably be getting a call real soon from Patrice with that book that she's reading. Love
Awesome.
letters from God. Was it a person? Was it personal at a time when you needed God the most, or was it about God's gift to you of eternal life? Or was it writing this book a way of describing the Bible?
It was more so about my relationship with God, as I did mention. I've struggled with depression all my life, and it took me to just now to realize, because being a Christian, you always hear, oh, God gets you through it. You always think, oh, I'm not gonna have to deal with this. Well, if we understand, as even in the Bible, the illness or whatever it was that Paul was dealing with, he told him that my love is sufficient enough for you. And so, as someone who has dealt with depression all my life, you know it never goes away. And so for him to let me, because being, dealing with my disability and dealing with somebody that, that led me to struggle with weight, people telling me I'm not smart enough. And so him letting me know that I was worthy of love, that's the way he did it for me, through letters. And then not only, he would give me letters, but I would write letters to him as my father, because I didn't have that earthly father.
Wow. Well, it sounds like your God, our God, has spoiled you. And I'm so glad that he did. He spoiled you in a way where he gave you richness in the way that you write. And there's just so many people that's going to pick up this book, all of your books. I think you said you have 5 books. This, how can you give us the titles of your books? I guess we lost her for a moment. Here we go.
Hello?
Yes. I was saying you said you have about
Am
5
I
books
still
that's
here?
out. Can you give us the title of your book so others can pick up those books, just
Am
like
I still
Patrice?
here?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Gosh, how I put that thing. Hello?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me? She's having some audio problems, so I'm going to just reiterate some of the stuff
Hello?
we was talking about. Can you hear me now?
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. This happens. This happens. It happens all the time.
Hello?
She's trying to get back on. I can see her, but she can't hear
The
me.
world. No,
So
I
her
put this thing.
audio is just going down and whatnot. But she is from Atlanta. She is currently living in Texas. She is, I think, the author of Six. And like I mentioned in the beginning, she is just an awesome person. She's doing so much. She did share with us that she was born, and I don't want to say blind, and that's her words that she used. And she says that she has a disability. For me, I say an inability to do certain things, but it doesn't stop her. She mentioned that there was teachers that told her that she would never go to college, and that children, some children are this way, that they were cruel to her, but that she's an author. She is a minister, and you just heard what she had to say just a few minutes ago. So that should put you on point with exactly who Shantae Reed is. She's just relentless, like I had mentioned. She's a speaker, and that's something that I want to talk to her about as well. Being a speaker and an advocate. I'm dying to find out that she's an advocate, but what is her platform with advocacy? I'm quite sure it's a strong platform. I did tell her that we do have Miss Patrice Grimble, who is a reviewer. She reviews books, so she did mention that she was currently reading her book now. Patrice, if you're still there, which book are you reading of hers? If you can put that in the chat, I can let her know which book of hers that you're actually reading. She did mention that she has a book called I Am the One, and the other one is Letters from God, and that's what we were talking about before she went off the air. She's really trying to get back on. If she's unable to get back on for tonight, what we'll do is we'll continue the show, and we'll talk about this young lady. Here she goes. So maybe she's back. Can you hear me?
I am. I specifically
Oh.
put my phone on Do Not Disturb. And
That's perfectly okay. I was just giving them a recap of those who have joined us late, and also speaking to Miss Patrice to just find out which book of yours that she was reading. She might have stepped away for a moment. It's that time of the year we're all cooking for Thanksgiving, so she's probably in the kitchen running
yes.
back and forth. And I don't blame her, because that's exactly what I'm going to do once we finish here. I'm going to get up there and try to do what I can to make Thursday a wonderful day. But
Right.
getting back to you, I had mentioned we were talking about the love letters from God, and I was saying that I believe that He has given you so much to do and to handle, and He knows that you are the one that can do that job. Your book, I Am the One, is a collection of poems. Should it be read aloud or experienced silently?
I would probably say both. I know specifically the one that really sticks out, the poem that's the last one in the book, is called She Doesn't Remember. And I would probably say that's one that you would definitely probably want to read silent, because I was raised by my grandmother. She now has dementia. So it's to the point that she won't even speak to me anymore, which is very hard. But for me, I think it's a way for God preparing me to deal with her, physically no longer being here first, because I don't know how I would have dealt with that had she just not been here all of a sudden. But the one solace that I do have is I was able to spend my 40th birthday with her right before she was diagnosed. And so I hold that that memory very precious to me, and that was the final poem in that book, and that's how I knew that was the end for that one.
Wow. I often wondered why people write poetry. Do you think that you have to figure out the meaning of a poem, or should it just be felt? Something that you just feel? Because some people look at words or maybe experience certain things, but then some people just have a feeling and they just go with it, and they can just spit it out. Like, just spit out the words, and they put it on paper.
Yeah, for me, poetry is felt. I love words, and when I write, sometimes God will give me a word that I have no idea what it means, and I literally have to look up the word to see what it is. And I always chuckle when He does that with me. But I'm a person, I don't have stanzas. I just write. It just comes out how I feel. So there's like no specific format that my poetry is in.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good to know. What is one of the best things that someone has said about your poems?
I would say recently I did I like going to events and trade shows, and I had one lady, she purchased the book from me at the show, and she emailed me and let me know, she had been putting off writing, and my book inspired her to, finally take God up and start writing that book. And that like
Okay.
meant so much to me that, it inspired her to do what she'd been putting off doing.
It must be a wonderful honor for someone to tell you that they wanted to write, but after reading what you've written, that it inspired them. I'm going to ask you something. I'm going to be a little spoiled myself right now. Can you try one of your poems?
Oh, I was like, that's the one I'm
If you
scared.
remember it,
But
the one that you did for your grandma, or I would love to hear one.
um, I think the one that I always, because I always tell people, that's something I struggle with and working to get better is being, able to speak it out.
Well, what
So,
about freestyle? We have somebody here, which is my producer, saying freestyle. Whatever, just could be just a
um,
couple of lines.
whatever's on my heart. Uh,
Whatever's on your heart. Now, everybody out there that's listening, she's saying whatever's on her heart, but don't go writing it down and trying to get it published because it's on here first, and I'm going to vouch for it too.
okay. Life is a journey. Life is a life is a journey. Life is a test. Through this life, we all must understand that we are blessed, even in the hard times, the times we feel alone. God is always with us. We're never on our own. In the times we're broken and in the times we're afraid, He's always with us. Like a lampshade, He covers us. He protects us. He's our healer, and He defends us. He loves us more than we could ever know. And through His love, we are able to grow. We're able to heal. We're able to thrive because He depends on us to survive, to lead those who don't know Him. Let them see His love through us. We're all the only Christ that many may see. So let them see their love, His love through you and me.
Oh
And
my.
that's from the heart.
Oh my. I asked you earlier, do you think that you have to figure out the meaning of the poem or should it just be felt? And you said both, and I get it now of why you say both, because I get the meaning of it. I just got it. And it's saying somebody saying snap, snap, snap. But it's something that I felt. I'm just feeling I got a blanket on me right now because I stay cold. But this is not cold from what you just spit out. And he chose the right person. He chose the right person, and that was beautiful. Now, again, I told everybody don't go writing down what she just said because that belongs to her.
Yeah, and
Okay.
the
At
reason
one
that I'll
I'm
tell
sorry.
you the reason that one popped up is because one of the questions you were asking, it was mentioned about people who don't believe. Well, living in California, I met a bus driver. He was
Wow.
actually on The Voice, but he was telling me that when I was just sitting speaking with him, he's, driven around many Christians who've, cursed people out, who've, talked about people. And I was the only person that actually spoke to him in love. And that was more, I was showing more of Christ to him than he had seen Christ before. And that's what a lot of people don't get. Yes, we have, there are certain things that we have to do as a Christians, but we have to be able to show his love and not,
Right.
because
Right.
we don't
Yeah,
realize who's
absolutely.
looking at us.
Right. I definitely get it. And sitting there. At one time, you self-published your books. Now you are with a publishing company. What are some of the most important things you've learned about self-publishing?
I would suggest anybody start self-publishing first because you understand the process. Once you self-published and then you go to a publisher, you understand because like even with the ones that I published through the publisher, I had already, had them edited before I sent them to their editors. Um, there's things that you don't think about as the writer, that need to be looked
Right.
at, and understanding that process before you go with a major publisher, I think is very important.
Yeah, please listen to it because I've read some books, and I'm not an expert, but I know when I read something, I want to read it to understand what I'm reading. And I've read one particular book, and I just shook my head because I said, well, maybe this is the way that they write
And I would
for that
definitely say
person.
that
So
my
I could never do.
Yeah. My first book I just released. I didn't do anything, and I think that's important to understand because now I know, when I go back to edit it, how it needs to, flow. There's a flow, like even with, when you're writing, whether it's poetry or anything, you just write it, but there needs to be some type of organization for people to get it.
Yeah, and that's why the editors are so important to have. But you have some people just so anxious to get their book out and say, "Oh, I finished it. I have my manuscript. This is what I want. I know what I want because I wrote it," and they send it out. But if that's your first book, I would advise that you get it edited. Look, have somebody else look at another set of lenses. Always a great thing to have. I guess some people may be set in their ways where they figure that I don't need anybody to tell me what I need to be doing because I'm writing and it belongs to me. It that's all well and do. That's great, but you have people. You're writing for people to read your stuff. You're writing for the readers to be either entertained or either you're giving them some kind of information, or you're just giving them something just to read, but you're writing for them.
Right.
Some people, I don't know. People do whatever it is they want when they put their books out. And I've read some wonderful books, but that one I just had to go through it again. I said, I don't know if this is this person's first book or not. I haven't found any other, but maybe they're using another name by now. But it was just, I'm not gonna say it was horrible. I'm just saying I just saw a lot of things that should have been shifted around in there, but
Hmm.
maybe that's something they experienced and that's the way they
Yeah.
wanted to talk about it. So, I hope that that person is listening because, hey, advice is,
Yeah.
and I just
And
said,
that's the thing
anytime somebody,
too, like, you have a progression, and like I can say, I I know for me that my writing has definitely elevated since my first book, and that's what
Mhm.
you'll notice. Like, as you start to go through them, you should see a progression.
Yeah, you'll see the growth in many writers, and I hope that person don't stop writing. That was your first one out, and that's great. You should be excited about it. It's your work. It's your name on that book. Just go to an editor. Go to a community college. Speak to a professor at one of the other universities or something, and just ask them if they don't mind editing your book. And sometimes they may charge a little something, but it's worth it. You that.
Mm-hmm.
So just go for that. You're an advocate and a speaker. What are the key issues you advocate for, and do any of them involve community outreach or social justice initiatives?
I am a disability advocate. As I mentioned, I'm someone that has lived my entire life with a disability, and I had to learn how to advocate for myself. So it's
Mm,
important for me to help young people know how to advocate them for themselves early. Um, and so as far as reaching out, I have mentored a young ladies before. Right now in the current Houston area, and also when we lived in California, we started my spiritual sister and I started a nonprofit and back in California that we actually relocated here to Houston, called Diamonds Do Brunch. And so the purpose of that nonprofit is to help how to bridge the gap between what we say seasoned and young ladies, because there's such a gap in this world today. Everybody's doing their own thing. And so it's important for us to help them know, there are commonalities that we can help each other grow. And so actually with that agency, we just did our first cheer. We're doing working with cheerleaders, and so we had our first tryouts on Sundays. So not only will they be able to do something positive, the goal is to help mentor them to keep them going in a positive direction.
Wow, that's awesome. Can you repeat the name of that organization again?
Diamonds Do Brunch.
Is it DO?
Deal. Yes.
Diamonds Do Brunch. Okay, gotta look that one up. It sounds like it's something. Okay. Question though, when you said that you also are a speaker, do you speak to inform or do you speak to motivate?
I do both. It depends on, what's asked of me. So I speak if people, want to know about living life with a disability. I can definitely speak on that. And then if they're just needing somebody to motivate, hey, I to speak on what I've gone through, I do that also.
Oh, okay. Wow. See, she's a speaker. She's an advocate. She's an author. What are some of the wait, no, you just mentioned that, but tell me, how did you cross over to different avenues and stay so grounded? From going from
Well,
one to the other. And you stay with it. Some people just their thing and then they'll jump out of that and go into something else. And they'll start something else and they'll jump in. But you seem to how
well,
do
the
you cross over and just stay grounded the way that you
the thing that God showed me that helped me do that was when he showed me that we always hear, oh, we have a life purpose. Well, our purpose is in life is not one dimensional. So the job I currently work at is as a customer service representative. And when I tell people I learned I had a lot more patience for young people than for older people. But customer service, just speaking to different type of people and just being able to speak life into them and also have them speak life into me as well, has that's part of my goal. That's what he has me doing, not only doing it for my job with my business, Proverbial Wisdom, where I go sharing my books and speaking publicly. So that's how it all ties in, because everything we do, it it's part of our purpose in life, whether we realize it or not.
Mhm.
Everything works together.
Well, I haven't heard many people say that they work with younger people and they also been around older people, but the younger people are who they can relate to more. Some people feel as though relating to the young, especially with this day and age, they're at a loss. And some people have given up on them. And it's wonderful and refreshing to hear that you have not. So that's great. You're also a minister. When did you know you were chosen?
Well, that I never knew. I didn't know I was chosen. It was just my pastor was like, okay, you're taking this class. And I didn't even realize it was to become ordained. But God is so important in my life. I knew it was going to happen eventually, um, because back in California, we led youth services. So
Okay.
up until I was, based in California, I joined that church back in 2015. And up until 2020 when COVID happened, we ran youth
Mhm.
services. So I had to speak every fifth Sunday.
Oh, wow. Well, that's well, like I said, you were chosen and you didn't even know it, but there you go. How
Right.
important how important is ministry to you?
It's fundamental. I mean, without God, I don't know where I would be. The thing my church family always says is God kicked me out of out of Georgia, because leaving Georgia forced me to get out of my comfort zone. And had
Mm.
I not been forced out of that comfort zone, I wouldn't have I wouldn't have known who I was. I wouldn't have known what he called me to do. I wouldn't have had the confidence to do it. So,
Well, he speaks, and when he speaks, everyone listens, or at least they should. I know I do, and I'm scared not to. You do so much.
right.
What role does prayer play in your daily life and ministry?
Prayer is fundamental. I mean, I can't go. You can't. I don't know how you can go without it. How? No, no. It's fundamental.
Okay.
Yeah.
With that said, you must be reaching out to help all the people God places in your path. Ideally, it would include both believers and those who have yet to know Jesus. Reaching your hand and saying, "Here, let me help you take the next step." How does that work when people question their own faith?
I mean, and even as Christians, sometimes, we all go through stuff where, and that's the thing, like I mentioned before about speaking to, I worked with people who were atheists, who were non-believers, and it was always funny to me. Like they all knew to come to me, even those who said they didn't believe in God would come to me to ask me to pray for their family because they knew, how important that was. And it people see how you live, so that's why I always say, you think they not paying attention to, like I mentioned about the cursing and being hypocritical. People
Mhm.
see your walk, and when they see your walk, they know if you are who you truly you say you are. That's what they see.
Well, just I asked you again earlier about your poetry as far as just being felt and something you experience. People, I believe, feel you, and that's when they know to come to you because you're just so comforting. I'm feeling comfortable just sitting here talking to you. It's almost as if we've had conversations before. It's not that I would be, oh my God, it's almost time to get off of here. I wish you would hurry up or anything like that. And I've never really felt like that with any of my guests that was on it. But for you, particularly right now, I'm feeling that comfort too. So I'm understanding where those people are coming from when they feel so comfortable to be able to talk to you. And like I said, you were chosen, and you were chosen for a reason, for maybe many different reasons. And it's wonderful to sit here and talk to you and to hear this coming out of you. So again, I'm going to say thank you again, um, for just taking me on this journey with you. You mentioned some of the challenges that you've had. How were you able to overcome so much adversity?
Definitely my faith, even when it was not where it is now, knowing that, okay, God, I know you have me here for a reason,
Mhm.
um, and just like I mentioned before, knowing that, okay, people think I can't, I'm going to show them that I can. And that's always been a, a driving force for me. But I also have to say, with that comes this year, well, not just this year, but back in 2020, I actually had to learn that I had been so forceful in that manner. I had to realize that was also a form of pride, of refusing to accept
Mm.
help when I needed. So we have to learn that everything has there's like a balance between it.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned balance because I'm going to ask you that next. What are some of the most important things that you learned about work-life balance?
Whew, you definitely have to have a work life balance. Now somebody's calling me. You have to know, you know, be okay with taking that time away. Um,
Mhm.
because especially with me working in customer service, it can be very, I I take calls where we get literally cursed out for something that we can do absolutely nothing about. So you have to be able to, walk away and know they not it's not towards me, it's just towards the situation. And so spirits, knowing,
Mhm.
having my faith in God is what helps me to be able to have that balance.
Well, they need some of that when they come in there to you because some people just come in off the street and they already have an attitude just set in that somebody's sitting there supposed to be helping them, and because they can't find whatever it is they need to find, or can't do the thing that they need to do, or had to come back for some other reason, you're the first person that's on the attack line. So believe me,
Absolutely.
I definitely get it. You have a personal brand. What are some of the most important things you've done to build that brand?
One moment. Let them know I'm on this
Oh,
so
okay,
they won't call me. One moment. Sorry.
no, that's fine. That's fine. She's she's spiritual all the way around, ladies and gentlemen. She is spiritual, and it's such a pleasure and a
Okay, I'm
joy
back. I'm so sorry, but I didn't want
to
them to
be
call.
talking. No, you're fine. You are fine. It is okay. Yeah, just wanted to know. You have a personal brand. What are some of the things that you have done to build that brand?
Definitely networking. Um, and that's the weird thing. I struggle with it, but that's the biggest thing. That's how I met Miss Angela. Just and especially now social media is such a big part. So you have
Yes.
to really be on social media. God had took me off for like a year, but doing this, it's like you have to kind of be on social media. So that's kind of where I'm really focusing my brand on now. I want to be able to go to more trade shows and, go nationally, but I haven't been able to do that as of yet.
Okay. Well, you know it's coming. It's definitely coming. I'm definitely going to be seeing you around and listening to you on the radio and open up a magazine, and there you go. Tell me something about yourself that even you are most surprised about.
Ooh, um, doing this.
Being on the podcast.
Man, me with being shy and not like being on camera. So being able to, and I think, even with being a public speaker, it's definitely out of my comfort zone, but I know that there's a reason for me to do it. It's not about myself, but it's about helping somebody else. So that would definitely probably be the biggest surprise for myself that I'm doing this.
Well, let me ask you: is this the first podcast you've been on?
It is not,
Okay,
but it's
so I
still
would tell
like
you it. I wouldn't take it as being your first because you're handling it. You don't appear to be shy to me. You're handling
yeah.
questions
Well,
after questions and just dealing with everything
yeah.
everybody else deals with.
Yeah. And I actually have my own, which is Shantae's Corner. So that kind of, helps with that
Mm.
too. So that's why I was just saying in general, getting on camera, speaking to people, you know, it's
When does your show air? On what days and
my podcast. It airs, well, I'm coming up on my finale now. So I do it once. Right now it's probably going to be more at some point, but right now it airs every Saturday, and I had 6 episodes this time.
okay,
um
congratulations.
Thank you. And so this was my first season where I actually had guests, so that's a that I guess that would be a surprise for myself too. So
Well, you're doing it all and you're doing it well. Tell me something about just even your have yet to learn.
um hmm.
Do you sing in the shower? Do you do you take the hairbrush and sing around? Do you slide across the floor in your socks?
Let me see, because I'm a singer anyway, so of course I sing in the show.
No.
I sing everywhere. um, Something that's I don't think I really have anything that I can think of. Um,
Okay, well,
that's a
she said a lot
surprise.
here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So you are learning a lot about her, and you're also going to be checking her out on Shantae's Corner. And it does come on Saturdays. What time on Saturdays?
It premieres at 12 at noon.
Okay, there we go. There we go. What do you think your mission in life is?
I actually think I'm doing it. My purpose is to inspire, encourage, and uplift, which is the theme of my podcast. And that's what I feel my purpose is. You know, to show people that no matter what your life situation was, you can rise above it. I came from rural Georgia, a little small tiny town, and I now live in Houston. So who would have known?
Well, you're moving and you're shaking things, and you've inspired me tonight. How can we connect with you?
I am on Facebook. You can find my business page on Facebook, Proverbial Wisdom. I'm on YouTube, Shantae Reed, ShanteReed. I'm on Instagram under Shantae_M_Reed. Also, my business page is there, and I'm on TikTok under Shantae Reed.
See, look at all of that social media you're on. Look at all of that you're on. You're naming them and just spitting it out real quick. Connect with Miss Shantae Reed. Miss Shantae, I want to thank you for being my guest. You are the one. You said I am the one. Yes, your book is saying you are the one, and that means you. YOU. Don't forget to get your copy of I Am the One and Love Letters on Amazon or wherever she has them at. Keep scrolling through. You'll see her other books as well. If you're hearing this message, you listen to the entire episode with me and Shantae. Oh, I like saying that, with me and Shantae. And for that, we want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. Join us on Friday, December 1st, when we will speak with grief and loss life coach, Keisha Trim, after 8, after dark.
Basic Black, After Dark, the all-new podcast show with your host, Black Diamond.